This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, Ukrainian Kiwis are worried about family back home as 100,000 Russian troops mass on the border. It's going to cost visitors more to visit Rakiura Stewart Island as the visitor levy skyrockets. And there are 2 locations of interest for the Omicron strain of COVID-19, with people asked to get tested and isolate if symptomatic. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Melissa Barton. A Dunedin-based Ukrainian woman is fearing for her family back home as the situation tensions escalate around the border between Ukraine and Russia. Olha Vyazenko has concerns about what might happen if the hundreds of thousands of Russian troops near the country's borders invade her homeland.
Watching with concern from afar. Dunedin woman Olha Vyazenko is worried about the future of her Ukrainian homeland, with family and friends telling her war is near.
I spoke with my mom half an hour ago, and she's really worried about the situation around Ukraine. Russia has 100,000 troops around the borders of Ukraine, and we do not know when it happens. It's just a question, not if, but when and how.
Tensions have been rising between the 2 former Soviet Union countries over the past month. It's a conflict Vyazenko says began in 2014 and has already claimed the lives of 14,000 Ukrainians. US President Joe Biden has been critical of Vladimir Putin's massing of troops and military hardware on the Russian border with Ukraine. Vyazenko says her country folk know where the bomb shelters are.
Everybody knows what they have to keep with them, such as documents or whatever. Everybody knows what to do in case of bombing, where to hide, where to go and where to seek help.
International relations expert Professor Robert Patman believes Vladimir Putin may just be bluffing when he gets troops to do exercises on the border with the Ukraine. But Vyazenko is hopeful for a diplomatic end to the posturing.
We still have hope for diplomatic resolving of this conflict, and this is also, and we also seek for the diplomatic support.
US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has issued a formal proposal to Russia suggesting a serious diplomatic path forward and strongly suggesting Russia should choose it. Olha Vyazenko is hopeful for a peaceful solution, but is scared of a worst-case scenario playing out.
We fear about the people living in Ukraine, so they have to fight. They will die, and it is really sad. And it could be the Third World War, and nobody wants that.
She's hoping Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern will back other world leaders in trying to facilitate a peaceful solution to the long-running conflict. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Visiting Stewart Island could cost a little more if a proposal being considered by the Southland District Council goes ahead. It's looking at tripling the island's mandatory visitor levy, which has received mixed reactions. Getting onto Rakiura Stewart Island by air or sea currently costs visitors $5, but a Southland District Council committee is recommending that levy is increased to $15 per person. The compulsory levy was introduced more than 8 years ago after approval from the government and hasn't been changed since. But many residents and tourism operators on Stewart Island are opposed to the idea and want more details about what the increased funds would be spent on. The levy is aimed at funding infrastructure to support visitors so the island's residents aren't lumbered with excessive costs. Last December was a bad month for Dunedin City Council staff and contractors, who endured a sharp increase in abuse and harassment from the public. The council reported 22 instances of abusive behaviour in the last 4 weeks of 2021. They range from staff being verbally abused 12 times, 7 incidents of threatening behaviour and 3 staff members reporting harassment. The second worst month was last May, when 7 incidents were reported. Council Chief Executive Sandy Graham says the council takes any incident of inappropriate behaviour towards staff extremely seriously. Figures released to the ODT under the Official Information Act revealed 17 council staff members were assaulted on the job over the past 5 years. 2 locations of interest in Queenstown have been linked to suspected Omicron cases. Those locations are Queenstown Airport and the Hotel St Moritz. People are being asked to monitor for COVID-19 symptoms if they were at either Queenstown Airport last Saturday between 2 and 3 p.m. or at the Hotel St Moritz also on Saturday, January 22nd between midnight and midday. Anyone who was at either location at those times are being asked to self-monitor for 10 days. If any symptoms appear, they should get tested and stay at home until they receive a negative test result. General Manager of the Hotel St Moritz, Queenstown, Joe Finnegan, says the COVID-positive guest was considered infectious only on the last day of their stay. Still to come on the South today. Tertiary education facilities across the South continue to feel the effects of COVID-19 heading into the new year. And we catch up with the plucky Wellingtonian, proving age is no barrier to athletic talents.
Spark your joy with jazz, the next generation from Honda.
Hi there, guess who? Do you recognise the eyes? Oh, okay, it's a haircut. Anyway, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. Our 3 stores are carrying on as usual. Despite what's happening in the world, we have got some great stock for you. Personally, I've spent 50 years in this business and we have some excellent supplier relationships. We've got great stock, it's hand-picked, it's here, it's on time, and it's ready for this great summer.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So, as my favourite cut says, keep calm and carry on.
This is the big one. My mate John's massive annual sale starts this weekend. John slashed 20 to 80% off his massive range of rock-bottom warehouse price furniture and beds. That's right, 80% off clearance items. Numbers are strictly limited, so don't delay. It's My Mate John's Ali Fantastic Sale. The big one starts this weekend at John's Furniture Warehouse, Stafford Street.
Get that furniture from Stafford Street. And My Mate John.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Every day the team at Gillian supports grieving families at their time of need. From answering your questions to organising a farewell that reflects the wishes of your loved one, we can help. Call Gillian's today.
Welcome back. Tertiary education facilities across the south are still feeling the effects of COVID-19 heading into the new year. Education providers are still missing large numbers of students which would normally come from overseas to study. Prior to the pandemic, Otago University usually welcomed about 3,000 international students a year onto its campus. So far, fewer than 150 overseas students have been given permission to study in Dunedin during 2022. The Southern Institute of Technology in Invercargill is also suffering, with only 300 international students expected to resume study this tertiary year. In order for international students to come to New Zealand, they require a government study exemption. The students have to stay in an MIQ facility before arriving on campus to begin or resume their courses. Dunedin is one of the losers in a shake-up of cricketing schedules for the Black Caps and White Ferns. New Zealand cricket has reduced the number of home venues for the two top sides in their upcoming international encounters. Dunedin's University Oval will no longer host a one-dayer between the Black Caps and the Netherlands in late March, with that series moving to Mount Maunganui and Hamilton. Meanwhile, a series between the White Ferns and India, featuring a T20 and 5 ODIs, will all be played at Queenstown's John Davies Oval ahead of the Women's World Cup. The venue changes are aimed at limiting air travel between and accommodation transfers to try and keep players and officials safe. A 90-year-old Wellingtonian is keen to show age is no barrier when it comes to athletic talents and remaining competitive. Jim Blair was one of many people getting ready for the Masters Games, and while that event's now been cancelled, he's staying on in Dunedin for the athletics season.
90 years old but still throwing strong. Wellington athlete Jim Blair has been involved in sports for most of his life and is one of many athletes who are looking forward to competing in the now cancelled New Zealand Masters Games.
Yes, there's a bit of disappointment that it's been cancelled. I've competed in most of them in the last 5 or 10 years, alternatively at Wanganui and down here, and I thoroughly enjoy it, to catch up with old mates and just the camaraderie and the relaxation.
Next month's games had to be cancelled due to limits on crowd gatherings following the country's move into the red traffic light setting. Blair often spends his summer in Dunedin for the athletic season, accumulating records when he comes down.
But down here, being the first one as a 90-year-old, I've actually set already 13 Otago records and 13 New Zealand records in that 90-year-old age group.
And Blair has a long list of sports that keep him active.
Well, mainly I do the throwing and jumping events. I do the high jump and the long jump, although I call it low flying for the high jump. It's not very high nowadays. But I do the 5 throws: shot put, discus throw, javelin throw, hammer throw and heavy weight.
Blair attributes his good health to playing sports his whole life, with football being a particular favourite.
I enjoy having a game each season and a social atmosphere, and also my aim was to have 3 generations on the field each time, and I've been able to achieve that until this year. Unfortunately, I lost my son last year, but my son-in-law stood in, so I still had 3 generations for the 90th birthday game.
He's planning to complete a full season here before heading back home to Wellington to avoid what he calls the chilly Dunedin winter. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today. A former Dunedinite and one of New Zealand's most decorated sportsmen calls time on an illustrious sporting career, and we have tomorrow's weather for you.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, You owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Living Well Disability Resource Centre, a not-for-profit charitable organisation and your one-stop shop for information and resources to help you retain independence. We offer a wide range of assistive products from jar openers to mobility scooters and provide assessments for Total Mobility, the half-price taxi scheme. Come and see the friendly team. You'll find us on the corner of George and Bath Streets, ground floor of Burns House.
This is the big one. John/20 to 80% off his massive range of rock-bottom warehouse price furniture and beds. It's My Mate John's Ali Fantastic Sale.
My Mate John.
Hi, my name's Matt and I'm the Dines Group CEO. Dines is a company that's focused on selling logistics solutions to its customers. We're passionate about selling efficiency and we've been selling efficiency for over 50 years now.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Welcome back. Former Dunedin rowing great Hamish Bond is calling it a day in his career sport. The 35-year-old has announced his retirement from rowing after having become one of New Zealand's most decorated sportsmen. The three-time Olympic champion began his rowing career 22 years ago while at Otago Boys High School. The 8-time world champion has competed at the top level throughout his career, breaking records and claiming titles. One of Bond's most impressive feats is being the first New Zealander to win 3 successive Olympic gold medals. He claimed gold alongside Eric Murray in the coxless pair races at the London 2012 and Rio 2016 Olympic Games, before leading the men's 8 crew to gold at Tokyo 2020. He also won a cycling bronze medal at the 2018 Commonwealth Games in the road time trial. Bond's looking forward to spending more time with his family. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Ukrainian Kiwis are worried about family back home as 100,000 Russian troops mass on the border, threatening to invade. It's going to cost visitors more to visit Rakiura Stewart Island as the visitor levy skyrockets threefold. And there are 2 locations of interest for the Omicron strain of COVID-19, with people being asked to get tested and isolate if symptomatic. And now a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome Deputy editor, Craig Page.
You got that right.
I know,
you.
I did. I
You
didn't
did.
demote you this time.
A little bit more on the Queenstown issue today, a bit of a scare around town with 2 locations of interest linked to that Omicron case. We talked to some locals and also to Mayor Jim Bolt about how prepared the town is. He said that they're as prepared as anyone, 99% vaccinated up there. Not overly surprised that some locations of interest have been identified, he said. There's been rumours circulating for quite some time that there's COVID cases around, but of course they're just rumours. But he has said they are expecting it will arrive sooner or later, so urging everyone to be prepared and get themselves organised for that. We're also talking to the Southern District Health Board about whether there's some other areas of interest that are going to be identified as well. So yeah, I guess a bit of a wake-up call for us all at the moment as we wait. And Oamaru today as well, a bit of a massive community effort up there to boost vaccines, and getting people to have their booster shots as well, particularly with kids heading back to school shortly as well, so a real drive there. Te Kaika, Whitestone Family Practice and the local Pacific Island community organised this, so more than 300 people involved, so some good numbers there, and yeah, great initiative, and it'd be nice to see some other areas doing something similar. We've got more on Hamish Bond, of course, one of Otago's greats. We always still like to claim him, even though he moved a long time ago. And of course he'll be back in town as well in the Otago Rally in coming months, ripping up our streets. So we look forward to seeing him back down here before he...
See, he just can't stay away.
No, he can't. And finally we've got our Otago Sparks in the midst of the preliminary final of the university. Bit of breaking news. They've scored 143, which is pretty competitive first innings total, with Susie Bates again scoring plenty of runs. So yeah, we're looking forward to that second innings. We'll have full wrap of that in tomorrow's paper.
Fantastic, thank you, Craig.
Thank you.
And you can catch all of that in tomorrow's ODT. And now it's time for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Looking at the situation, fine and warmer this weekend as airflow tends to the north while a large high pressure system drifts out into the Pacific. Moving to the centres now, and that warmer weather is on the way for the northwest of the island with a few summer showers. Westport reaching a high of 19 degrees and Greymouth 20. Moving to the northeast, it's a fine day here with the occasional cloud and 20 or 21 degrees. The warm weather with the occasional cloud continues in Canterbury, Kaikoura and Christchurch, a high of 18 degrees, and Ashburton 21. Warm temperatures are in store for the southern towns with fine weather and light to moderate winds. The Catlin sees moderate northeasterlies and 19 degrees, light northerlies for Balclutha and a high of 20, and 21 degrees for Lumsden and Gore with light winds. The warm summer weather continues in central with light winds and temperatures between 24 and 25 degrees for Wanaka, Queenstown and Alexandra. Te Anau slightly lower on 20 degrees. And it's much the same further north along the coast with fine weather and light easterlies for Timaru with 20 degrees. Oamaru can expect some moderate northeasterlies and 19. Moving inland to Twizel and Omarama, fine weather with light winds here with temperatures of 24 for Twizel and Omarama 25. And in Dunedin, mostly cloudy tonight with cool southwesterlies decreasing and dying out, looking at an overnight low of 8 degrees. Low cloud at first tomorrow, breaking and long sunny periods developing during the morning. Light winds at first, but moderate northeasterlies developing during the afternoon, a high of 19 and a low of 10. Warmer on Saturday with sunny periods and high cloud. Light winds at first, but northeasterlies developing later on, a high of 23 and a low of 12. And in Invercargill, fine and cold tonight with an overnight low of 4. Mostly fine and sunny tomorrow with light winds, temperatures becoming milder, a high of 19 and a low of 9. Cloud increasing and warmer north to northwesterly winds slowly freshening on Saturday. A few showers could be possible on Saturday night, a high of 22 and a low of 14. And that's the news this Thursday. For the latest news and videos from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. And you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand. Nō reira, kia pai te pou, ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.